Hey guys, GameBoy3800 here once again, and we're doing another benchmark review today, this time for the Sega M3EW. This time we have a Pentium M on the bench, that's right, proper Pentium M. Last time out we saw the Celeron M, and it didn't do too well, but it was a low clock speed and the Celeron. Now though, we've got the Pentium, 1.6 GHz, a good increase over the 1.4 GHz Celeron M, and today we're going to see how it does. This here's the Sega M3EW, the M3 series that we actually saw pop up on the screen of last week's Vigilant laptop. So that's odd. It's the little boot up screen. Anyways, let's go on to the ports. On the right side we have serial, USB, power, and DVD drive. Odd place to have a serial, but oh well. On the front we have audio controls, audio jacks, SD card reader, and a FireWire. This is already a pretty jam-packed laptop for ports, and then on the left side we have networking, video, USB, PCMCIA. It's got everything. And when we move to the back you'll see why. There's actually nothing. Nothing except for a locked port. The interesting story about this laptop is when I got it, it was hilariously and hopelessly filled with viruses. You couldn't do anything. It took a lot of scanning and a lot of registry fixing to get it to be usable, but I managed to save the original OS. So this is the original hard drive, original OS, did not have the reformat. So that's pretty cool. Next, let's take a look at it with the screen open here. You can see the keyboard. This one does have some damage, it's missing some keys, and that happens sometimes with old machines. You can't always get them in the best condition possible. And here we'll see the back of the screen. It's got a mirror finish on the Sega badge. Pretty cool. And you can see here that this has a mega fat extended battery that does hold a good charge. And Pentium M's pretty efficient, so I'd imagine it gets a pretty good long battery life. Touchpad is okay. It's got two buttons in the middle for scrolling up or down, just like arrow keys. No media keys above the keyboard this time. Instead, you have the volume controls below the touchpad, and they're actually in an annoying spot because if you like to have the laptop laying on you as on your knees as you're laying down, then it constantly activates the volume buttons. And same if you like to have your palm over the palm rest and just touching the buttons activates them. It's pretty dumb. You can see there though, it's got an ATI Radeon badge. This actually has an ATI Radeon 9700, so it's just a pretty good vintage gaming laptop right here. On the bottom we got two vents, two fans, and they actually both exhaust out the left side. So if you have a mouse on the right side, you won't get your hand hot. So that's cool. And if you look, the left fan for the CPU fan, it actually, you can see straight through it. That's because it has access to clean air on the top and bottom. The GPU though, that has only access to air on the bottom, so you do need to keep it off of carpets and stuff. Other than that, it looks like a pretty standard machine. This machine has no visual damage that I can see. The Vigilant you saw last week, they had a cracking left hinge, and it actually had a cracking left hinge clip. Here though, all the clips are intact, the hinges are good, the battery holds a good charge, everything works. And I don't know this computer's obsession with reflective mirror surfaces. You have the mirror surface on the palm rest there below the keyboard, and then you have the mirror surface on the back with the Sega badge, and then the screen itself is super glossy. So don't put this in the sun, you will melt your house because it will reflect. And now we will move on to powering up here. We can see it's got a Centrino badge. Centrino, Pentium M. Pretty good combo actually. And here we are starting up Windows XP. It doesn't take too long to boot up, but it is an original hard drive with all the original software on it. So it is a little bit bloated, so it won't boot up as quickly as some of the other machines I've shown off with clean installs. The speakers are below the display, and I believe to the right or left of the keyboard. They don't sound too good. They do get pretty loud though. but they do sound like old laptop speakers. They're usable, yes, but no. Here we are at Windows XP. Let's load up a benchmark. And you might be able to see the score we got before. This did a pretty good job. I think it beats out the 2.4 gigahertz desktop equipped Dell 250N. We will see that for sure in the benchmark section though. It does take a while to load up the benchmark. I won't show you that whole thing, but here you can see a single core 1.6 gigahertz Pentium M. I wonder how it does against the 2.4 gigahertz desktop chip equipped Dell 250N. Let's go ahead and shut this down. And move into the benchmarks. And here we move into the benchmark screen, and at the bottom you see the Sega M3EW. And you can see it actually destroys the Dell 250N. It even destroys the Sony K25 that we saw last time out. That has a 2.8 gigahertz Pentium 4. And it still wins. Gets a score of 0.37, while the Sony gets a score of 0.35. And then you can see what the Celeron M does here that we saw last week as well. It does incredible. That shows you how much a little bit of clock speed and way better cache does for a CPU in Cinebench here. The Sager is a really cool machine. It took a while for me to track one of these down, but I'm glad I have. It performs really well. It still can't really compete with the really high clock speed Pentium 4s like the Gateway and the Fujitsu, but it gets pretty close, I'll give it that. I mean, you know, according to this chart, not really, but if we had the whole chart from a 0 point, you'd see that they're pretty close. I think that will be about it. Next time out, we will probably take a look at another Pentium M machine to start getting more Pentium M's on the board, but this is a great start. I wonder how high the higher clock speed Pentium M's will get, because we do have some more coming in the future. That will be about it for today. If you guys enjoyed, please do go ahead and leave a like, favorite, comment, share, and of course don't forget to subscribe as well. Thanks, Game Boy. I will see you all in the future.